Hello, guys. How's everyone doing tonight? Please feel free to start commenting in the bottom section there. Any questions you have about the following topic that you see right there on the screen, Trump 2024, and I do have a special guest for this evening once again. You know, guys, you already know I love to have a guest for almost every episode here. Hello there.
Hello, how are you?
Hi. Good. How are you? Can you hear me well?
I can hear you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. How are you doing
Okay.
tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, guys. So, Shan, the conservative Shan, she is the guest for tonight. She is a Trump supporter, so we'll be asking questions about that topic, why she supports Trump, and other things too that we were discussing before going here on the live. And then I'm sure we'll touch into other topics, related topics as well. That being said, let's get started. By the way, I do want to clarify something. I did mess up on my announcement last night. I have my days mixed together. It's a lot going on between editing, going live. In regards to Kayla Hamilton's mother, she will be here tomorrow night, Thursday. Okay, same time as tonight. But tonight is Shan, and tomorrow is Tammy Noble's Kayla Hamilton's mother. All right, just want to clarify that. So Shan, so tell me, when were you always a Trump supporter? By the way, that's the first question I have for you.
Oh, I hate saying this out loud. I was not.
That's fine. No,
So
that's what I want
I
to
was
know.
very
How did this start for you, or why weren't you a Trump supporter originally?
so it's a lot easier to kind of listen to news headlines and read news headlines and kind of go along with what's trendy and what everybody else believes. Um, and like ignorance is bliss type thing. And I think it was sometime in 2017 or 2018. I was washing the dishes. I didn't ever really listen to Trump's speeches or his announcements because I didn't really care. And I know that sounds awful because I have seven small children and I really should care. And I know that now. When you know better, you do better. Um, but I listened to his whole entire speech and I absorbed everything. And later on that night, I had the news on and they played little splices of Donald Trump's speech and twisted it to make it sound like he said something that he didn't. And I was like, now, wait a minute. I don't like this man. I don't respect this man, but I'm not stupid and I know what I heard and that's not how he portrayed what he was saying. So why are they twisting it into something that it's not? And I think from
And
that
this was after you watched, like, did you hear him speak before that, or how do you know it was manipulated?
because I listened earlier that day to his entire speech from start
Oh,
to
okay,
finish as I was doing the
got it.
dishes. Yeah. So I heard all of this stuff with my own ears and later on that night my husband and I were watching the news and I looked at him who he's been a Trump supporter through and through. So I looked at him and I'm like, that's not how that went. That is not what he said. I heard that with my own ears. And from that point forward, I kind of dug and dug and dug to try to figure out and put the pieces together. Why does he get painted as a monster? Why are they making him sound like he says things that he doesn't say? Why so I caught on to them a little bit, and my support slowly but surely leaned towards Donald Trump. Um, and I look at his executive orders, I look at his policies, I look at 2016 to 2020, and I'm proud of what he did and what he accomplished, and I felt very safe, and that's the most important thing for me, is feeling safe where I live and feeling that my children are safe. I don't feel that right now. So I think my biggest reason for supporting Trump is safety. Like, I feel very safe and secure with Trump running the country.
Got it. So, okay, so then 2016, when he first ran, you were not for him. Were
No.
you against him, or you were just like indifferent?
I was pretty against him just because of, like I said, everybody was against him. And it's so much easier to just go along with the
Yeah.
crowd. And
So were you saying the same things like, oh, Trump is just name calling, he attacks people, he's a liar? Were you thinking
I
stuff
kind
like
of was
that?
like, he's a liar because I never really listened to him speak, and I never really listened to what he had to say. I listened to what the news had to say, and I read the news headlines, and I listened to those tiny little splices that made it sound like he was a liar and that he was, you know what I mean. So I never really listened to everything in full, and I kind of just went along with the crowd.
Got it. I mean, that sounds very similar to we have a user named Ryan over here. He's very upset that you support Trump, and he's sort of echoing these things that I just mentioned right now. He sounds like he's repeating what the mainstream media keeps saying about Trump almost on a daily basis. So that's why I was asking about that. Okay, so then it was the media that pushed you towards Trump.
I wouldn't say
Like,
push. Well,
or maybe it made you pay more attention to what he was
yes,
saying.
it
Okay.
definitely made me ask questions for sure.
Got it. And what you said, your husband. What about your husband? What did he think about that?
About me not supporting Trump.
No, like, was he a Trump supporter? Like,
He
was he
was. He
for it,
was.
or
He's always been a Trump supporter through
he's
and
always
through.
been?
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So then you made a turnaround around 2017, give or take. And then you said one of the main things for you is safety. What do you mean by that?
Well, obviously the border policy, like the borders were a lot. I don't want to say 100% secure because they weren't. I mean, they were never 100% secure, but they were more secure. And Trump was very adamant about coming through the right port of entry and being processed so we know who you are, and what your identity is and what you're here for. I understand coming um, for safety and running from your country. Anybody can come through those borders and say this is what we're running from. And I feel that it's really important to process you and to come through the right port of entry, and that type of thing.
Yeah.
His
And how do you
foreign
feel? How do you feel, by the way, of what's happening right now at the border?
oh my gosh, it terrifies me, and I like not a lot of things terrify me. I'm not. I You see the footage of the busloads of middle-aged men from all different countries coming and going to these bigger cities, and they don't have women and children with them. It would be one thing if it were a couple middle-aged men mixed in with some women and children as well in some families, but they're all middle-aged men with no children and no women with them, and they're fighting aged men, and that's like, what are you doing here? And when they're being interviewed, they tell you what cities they're going to, but they won't tell you what they're here for, which makes things really scary. There's nothing wrong with middle-aged men coming when you're coming through the right port of entry and you're being processed. The problem I have is that they're not, and they're being sent to these bigger cities, and we have no idea why. Like, if you're a
Well,
refugee, like,
yeah.
you would have your families with you, correct? It wouldn't
Yeah,
just be a
so like,
bunch
if
of
they
people.
most of them are actually processed. The thing is that they're not being vetted properly. You know,
Yeah.
that system of properly vetting any of them is really non-existent. They do a basic interview to see if they do sense that they have a valid sense of fear, if you will. But there's really no strong, rough interview and certainly no thorough criminal background check. But they
Right.
are essentially legal in the country because they're giving the NTA, the notice to appear, right, for that interview that could be years from now.
Right.
So Elijah in the comment section is saying, well, he said a couple of things. He said, what does Trump do that makes us feel safe? Do you want to answer that, Shan?
I did. I answered the border policy. Our
Yeah.
borders were more secure. And then I kind of wanted to go into like his foreign negotiation and his foreign policies.
Yeah.
He worked very, very well with all of the world leaders. People were not, I mean, people were afraid of us for a long time. I mean, he stepped into South Korea, or maybe it was North Korea. He worked really well with Putin. I don't want to say worked really well, but I didn't feel threatened that Russia was going to do something to us whenever Trump was in office.
No, I hear you. I mean, we can clearly see what's happening right now around the world. Yeah.
Right. I that's eventually
Elijah is
like
saying, what's wrong with middle-aged men coming? I mean, if you don't see anything wrong with that, like, there's nothing wrong with middle-aged coming if they're coming the right way. And she did highlight that. We're referring to those that are coming without being vetted properly. Then Elijah's saying many come to send money to their families back home. It's pretty much always been like that. Yeah. So number one, that's not contributing to our economy, but that's not even what the main discussion is the safety aspect of it. We're seeing numbers that we've never seen before. Last month in December, Border Patrol, reported over 300,000 encounters just for 1 month. I mean, that was record breaking. So Elijah, if you don't know that information, I suggest you start doing some research.
Correct.
So
And
go
I want
ahead.
to point out too, before we move on, there are somewhere between 200 and 300 people that came over into our country that are on the terrorist watch list. I don't know if you guys know that, but
Yes, that is
that's a
correct.
proven fact.
There have been encounters with those too, and it was larger than when Trump was in office. I'm trying to get the numbers. It's just a little bit difficult to get everything at once what we're talking, but I'll try to pull up the numbers for that as well. But yes, also there are over 1.5 million gotaways. Do you know about that, Shan?
I have heard of the gotaways. I have not
Yeah,
looked too much into that. My focus has really been on the busloads of men coming over and the
right.
terrorists coming over.
Yeah, so that's the thing because the gotaways we don't know if they are good or bad or if they were never processed.
Right.
you know
Yes.
so that's even scarier. I think that's even scarier. But yeah, I hear you about the security for sure. I mean, the borders are just not being they're not being protected as they were under Trump. I mean, even Democrats have said this, by the way. Even
Correct.
who said it? I think was
They
it
have.
Chris Cuomo, the journalist. He's a hardcore
Yes.
Democrat.
And he said that he like voting for Trump is on the table for him.
Yeah, can you believe it?
No.
I was like, what am I watching? Is this AI?
Like I was questioning it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then, all right. So then you like Trump. You like his border policy, foreign policy. Um, we get into 2020, and we were discussing this, by the way, when we were messaging back and forth. What do you think happened in the 2020 election? Let's start there. And for the record, this is just for entertainment purposes only and pure speculation. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So,
Yeah, because
what do you
they don't
think
see the
happened in
world.
this novel that you're writing for the 2020 election?
uh, so uh, I hate like I hate going back on this. This is not my favorite topic just because I think it's super important that we move forward as a country and focus on 2024. Um, but y- I think everybody would have to have some questions about 2020, right? Trump was winning and all of the swing states at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I stayed up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and watched everything when they stopped voting. And Biden, if you look at a graph, Biden's line was very steady, and around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, it spiked straight up and then leveled out again. That just doesn't happen. That you have to have questions about that. You have to like things that make you go, hmm. So I mean, let's start there. And then when you watch the what is that documentary that the that one lady, she just won something in Georgia. She just won a hearing in Georgia about all of the proof that she put together of the stolen election. And there were people that actually testified in that documentary that said that they were scared to talk about it. Um, and they were taking boatloads of ballots to these drop boxes in the middle of the night and across county lines, Philadelphia and New Jersey being the worst of it, the worst that they found. They actually bought um, pings. I don't know if you know the software where they buy pings of cell phones in certain areas and they can identify people by those. So that's actually how they identified people on January 6th. It's how there was a murder solved. Somebody shot a little girl in a McDonald's parking lot, and the people that helped put this documentary together actually helped solve that, and their software was good enough to help them solve that murder that pinpointed a man in the McDonald's parking lot off of his cell phone pings, and they identified him that way. But it wasn't good enough for the 2020 election where they bought pings in the biggest swing states and the biggest cities. And they were able to track these people crossing county lines with boatloads of ballots. And you can see hours of footage in this documentary. So there,
So are
there's
you
a
saying
lot.
like law enforcement is able to ping or was able to
Law,
ping these
like,
people,
and
or
not
who
just
pinged
law
them?
enforcement, like law enforcement for sure, but not just law enforcement. Like other people, like there are people, lots of people can do it. And
Hmm.
it just like you have to have money because you have to buy it, right? You have to buy
Okay,
the
so it's just a
software.
software that you can get. That's what you're
Right.
saying.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
So but law enforcement does use it. And
Got it.
and it was good enough to solve a little girl's murder. It was good enough to pinpoint people on January 6th in DC, but it wasn't good enough for the 2020 election and being able to track those people. So
But I guess my question is, I get what you're saying, but if we were able to ping, let's say, someone driving a truck, right, during election night or whatever, those weeks, how can we prove they had, fraudulent ballots? Because you
well,
can just say, I was going to buy something
correct,
or I was
correct. No,
traveling
no,
or
no,
something.
I
So
hear you.
how can you?
I hear you. So, so they're at the county, like where they get the fraudulent ballot. So they're at the places where people vote, okay, and where they create ballots. They track those cars there because they're originally bought in, like, so here we vote at the recreation center up the road. So I would assume that they would buy this software in the places where people vote. And so this person starts here at midnight and they're going to New Jersey at 3 o'clock in the morning. And there is hundreds of hours of video footage in this documentary of people stuffing ballots in these drop boxes outside of the places where people vote. Again, I this is not my
Is this like
favorite
a new
topic.
documentary, by the way?
No, it's old, and she actually just won something in Georgia. I can't
What
think
do
of
you
her
know the
name.
name of this documentary?
Oh yeah, I can't think of it.
Oh, just
I can
when
send
you
it to
can,
you
if you,
because
yes, please do that.
I truthfully didn't send you any links on this because this is like I said, this is not my favorite topic. I think it's super important to move forward from 2020 and focus on
Yeah.
2024. And I hear and I feel Trump doing that more and more. Like he's talking less and less about 2020.
Yeah.
It's no question. Like if you don't have questions about 2020, like you live under a rock for sure. Um,
So, so tell me, I mean, if you feel comfortable, you mentioned that you were in Capitol Hill in 2020, January 6th, 2021.
I was.
Is that correct? Yeah.
I was, yes.
So, what do you witness if you're able to share?
So there was a lot.
Yeah, I can
Um,
imagine.
um, so first things first, that. there were people packed from like the White House back to the Washington Monument and overflowing the streets. So there were a lot of people there. We were shoulder to shoulder with people. You couldn't even like leave to go to the bathroom because you got lost in like crowds of people. And you couldn't move. Truthfully, you couldn't. So for the people that believe that there
But
were
first of all, you went to the Trump rally first, right?
yes, correct.
Okay. So
That's what they
did
usually
you
go.
actually see President Trump speaking?
I did.
Okay. So then
Yeah.
you were there. Did you hear of any plans of anything being coordinated to do something wild later on, or
No.
no?
No, and actually Trump was very, very late to speak. He was very because I think he was supposed to speak at like 1 o'clock or something, like between 12 and 1. He was like an hour late. I don't remember the exact times, but he was very late. And he's always fashionably late. Because I've been to several Trump rallies, but he was very, very late. And that was the first time that I saw him speaking behind bulletproof glass. I don't know if you guys noticed that on the TV, but he was speaking behind bulletproof glass on January 6th. Um,
By the way,
so
I do want to mention TKO sent a request. TKO, just give me a few more minutes. I'm going to open the panel for discussion soon. I just want to finalize asking her the main questions, but I'll let you in a bit. Go ahead, Shan.
so I actually took my time, like after Trump got done speaking, I actually took my time walking up there, me and my husband and the other people that we were with, just because we were so crammed and we needed space. So I was in no hurry to get up there. So if I had ill intentions, I would have ran up there with everybody else. Um, that had ill intentions, but walking up there, you didn't see anything like out of place. You didn't hear anything out of place. There was no chaos. You didn't hear any sirens or anything of that nature. And actually, my dad called me on my way up there and was like, "Hey, you need to come home. Things are getting a little crazy." And I'm like, "I'm not real sure what you're talking about because I'm here and everything's fine. I don't hear anything happening." So I'm not sure what you guys were seeing on the TV at that point, but after Trump got done speaking, there wasn't a whole lot going on. It was actually a little bit later on that um, we got up to the Capitol building and there were the barricades, right? And there were people, and I know I spoke to you about this before. There were people with megaphones like coaching you through these barricades and was like, don't go that way. Charge the Capitol building. And then the police were actually inviting you, and they were very friendly and very nice, and they didn't look like they were in distress at all.
Okay, so hold on. Let's go by parts. So Trump finishes speaking, and do you guys from there start marching towards the Capitol?
We do, just very slowly.
So and that was why do you guys go that way?
Just I mean, I feel as an American, I had a right to peacefully protest, just like
Got
everybody
it.
else did for the
So we
last
just
four
so
years.
the mindset was let's just go peacefully protest, which
Well,
is
I
completely
think I
legal.
just wanted to peacefully walk up to the Capitol building with everybody else.
Got it. So you didn't hear any language about oh let's go and do this and do that something crazy. You didn't hear
No,
anything.
it was actually a very like emotional and beautiful walk up there. There was no talk of anything. There was no violence. I mean, the pillow guy was riding around. Michael Flynn was walking around. There was a lot of it was really, really cool, and it was a really,
It wasn't
it
nothing
was
inappropriate about it.
no, no.
Um, so then, okay, so then you're getting closer, and then what? Now you break this down for us. You say you start seeing the barricades, and then you start seeing these people with megaphones.
Hmm. On both sides. So there's two sides of barricades. And my husband actually started walking through the barricade, and I said, "I know that you're not that stupid to take that bait. Like, you can't go into the Capitol building, so don't go through the barricades into the yard." So we actually walked around the barricade outside of a restricted area. We were outside of the fence up at the top left of the Capitol building where we can see a lot of what was going on, but not everything. I wanted to
So
pause in
okay,
case you had
so
any questions.
Yeah. So then the megaphones, what were they saying, these individuals with the megaphones?
Um, storm the Capitol building. Don't go the other way. Like, don't go that way. As people were going out around the barricades, they were basically coaching people to the like into the Capitol building, to the yard, up the steps, and they were actually standing with the Capitol Police, who were also inviting everybody in, and they were very friendly and did not look like they were
How
in
were
any
they?
type of distress.
So you're saying that the police was inviting them in, like letting them through the barricade?
Yes, they were 100%.
Really?
100%.
Huh. So these guys with the megaphones were next to the police?
Yes.
Wow. Do you by any chance were able to recognize any of these people with the megaphones?
No.
No.
No. And they were, and I don't think my husband actually just popped into the room. I don't think they were dressed in black, weren't they? Those
Yeah, and
people with the megaphones?
they had like bandanas across their face and
Yeah,
stuff,
like
like
they
masks.
weren't Trump, like dressed in like Trump gear, like you wouldn't, because all of us like had Trump flags and we were dressed in red, white, and blue. Like I had Trump leggings on. My friend had her American flags. Like they were dressed in all black with bandanas on their face.
Wow. Um, and then, okay, so then, by the way, were you able to capture any of this on video?
I was, and I did tell you that I could save them as files and send them to you, but you said okay, maybe next time, so I didn't send them to you.
Got it. Yeah, let's see if we can do that. Now that we broke this down, I'll try to get those from you, and then maybe we can have another conversation about that if you feel
Yeah, for
comfortable,
sure.
obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so then at this point, so then do you see the crowd listening to these people on the megaphones?
The majority of the people actually came out around. There was maybe like a fraction of people that actually did flood through. And when I say it, like I know that a lot of people are saying there wasn't very many people on January 6th, but there was a lot of people in DC that day.
Yeah, it
So
was.
there had to have been, I wouldn't call it a million, but we were pretty close. Like between the overflow of the streets and just from the White House yard, the whole way back past the Washington Monument, the whole way up to the Capitol was packed like sardines with people, plus the overflow of the streets, like I said. So I wouldn't say that the majority of people flooded through the barricades like everybody portrays it to
Yeah,
be.
and it's not even like they went in like on a rampage. It's like
They were
they
invited
went
in.
in as
Yeah.
like tourists. Like they got their
And that's
cameras
your
and
husband in the background, right?
Yes.
Got it. So then he's saying that those coming through were just coming through peacefully.
Correct. The majority of them, yes, 100%. Because if you didn't know any better, like my husband that started walking towards this lady with these microphones, you would think that you were being invited in.
Got it. So you saw some of these people walking through because they were invited. It was some, not all, right?
Yeah, well, the majority of people that walked through, I think, walked through because they were invited. Because when you look at the charges,
Yeah.
the people that did come through, they were charged with like being in a restricted area and not moving and not actually charged with really serious things. You know what I mean? So a very
Right.
small fraction of the people that did flood through those barricades were actually charged with something serious.
Do you know, by the way, if I didn't really follow up those cases too much, but do you know if this was brought up in court about these allegations
What allegations?
of officials and these people with megaphones letting people through the barricades in
Oh,
a
for
peaceful
sure. That was
manner?
brought up like
Yeah,
during the January 6th committee for sure. Like
got it.
during those hearings for sure.
Got it. And do you know if any of these individuals with those megaphones were ever identified?
Um, I don't think so. Those people with the megaphones. No.
Wow. Do you remember how many of them, well, how many did you see?
There was a couple on each side of the barricade, maybe like four.
So at least four you saw.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. It sounds very coordinated to me.
It does sound very coordinated. It did feel very
Yeah.
coordinated, and I had a very off feeling like because everybody just started going into inside like past the barricades, and I had a very ill feeling about that, and I was like, wait a minute, like we can't, like we have to use our brains here. Go out around the fence.
So did you make it to through the barricade as well, or no?
No, I was not
No.
in a restricted area. We made good choices and went out around the fence, and
Hmm.
walked the whole way up to the left of the Capitol building where we could still see the stairs and all of that, but we weren't considered in a restricted area.
Got it. And what made you go that way instead of following the crowd?
I had, like I said, I had a very ill, off feeling about going through those barricades onto the steps of the Capitol building.
Got it. So it was a gut feeling.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So then, at what point did, because you're there, by the way, you're seeing this live. At what point, or were you able to see when everything started happening, when things were starting to get violent?
The most violent things that we saw were people like kind of climbing onto the windows and smashing at them. And actually, the majority of people pulled him, or the people, there was a couple people, pulled them off of the windows, and the crowd started cheering um, whenever they were pulled off of the windows. I actually did too see a Trump supporter. He was dressed in Trump gear, so I'm assuming that he's a Trump supporter. It was really hard to tell with everything. Like you said, being so coordinated. Um, Pleading with Capitol police officers, like, this is our Capitol building. Call for backup. What are you doing? Like, you're just standing there. Like, do something. So I actually did hear that with my own ears, but I know that there's a video floating around on TikTok or YouTube or something of that actual instance.
Got it. So then, were you able to witness the tear gas
No,
being thrown?
I didn't see any of that. I saw smoke bombs on the stairs of the Capitol building, but they were colorful, so I don't know if they were just supposed to be decorative and celebratory. I didn't see anything violent or any tear gas or anything of that sort, which that might have happened after I left, because at that point, like, my dad was calling me. Our friend's wife was calling him. I have no idea what you guys were seeing on TV at that point, because everybody was pleading for us to please come home and get out of DC. And we are so confused because we don't really see anything that's super warranted for us to like leave and get out of there right away. Um, so it was really weird.
Thank you, Waddle. I appreciate it. Did that surprise you, for the record, that the windows at the U.S. Capitol Hill were shattered?
No, because
No.
we let 1,000 people through the barricades,
No, but I
and
mean in the sense of, being such an important building for us, uh, shouldn't that be like heavily reinforced, bulletproof? I don't
oh,
know,
for
just thinking
sure.
out loud here.
For sure. And I'm not sure if the windows were even smashed or people were just beating on them. I can just see people like climbing on them and hitting them with something. So I can't really confirm that they were smashed. I think that was the intention.
Well, I think I did see some videos that they were shattered. Didn't
I've
they?
seen,
I thought they entered through some of the windows too, no? Or maybe I'm mistaken, but
yeah, that could
yeah,
absolutely
I
have
could
been.
have sworn I watched some of this
I
footage.
didn't
But
see.
if you guys want to correct me, that's fine too. But
No, you're
they were
probably
broken though.
100%
I
right.
did see that some of them were broken.
Okay, so that does surprise me a little because that's the most secure place besides the Pentagon, I would imagine, in the country. And what really got me about the whole thing is they were so quick to put it on the news. Like, we had everybody calling us, and you're telling our enemy countries, like the news people are telling our enemy countries that the American people can storm the Capitol on a Wednesday afternoon and nobody's going to stop them. So, what message does that put out to like our foreign enemies?
Yeah. By the way, I'm watching a video on YouTube right now. Just pull it up. You guys can YouTube it as well. It's by ABC 7, and it says Trump supporters were seen breaking windows trying to breach Capitol Hill. So yes, yeah, they They shattered it, and then they're entering through two of those windows. So, yep, that actually did happen. Just wanted to point it out just for clarification. Wow. Okay. So then, what was your line of thought when this was happening? By the way, you were seeing what you were witnessing on your end.
I'm kind of just, I expected something to happen. I expected Antifa or BLM to come hurt us because they knew a lot of us was going to be in one place at one time. I expected somebody to set us up. I expected something. I expected a big event to happen, like whether it was a terroristic event or something, because all of these people that the country hates are in one place at one time. So I did expect something big to happen. So I don't want to say that I'm surprised, and I don't want to say that I was fearful, because I wasn't, because like I said, I didn't see a whole lot of violence going on, and I didn't really even hear about a whole lot of violence until I was on my way home.
So you were just surprised then.
No, I wasn't surprised. I'm not really sure what I was. I kind of was just wondering what the heck is going on, like what's happening, because everybody at home is seeing one thing and we're seeing another thing. I'm not seeing a whole lot of violence here. I wasn't surprised because I expected something to happen. Like I said, I wasn't
Got it.
really super
Got it.
surprised.
So it was
I
more
was
like,
very
oh,
sad.
here we go kind of thing.
The whole day made me very sad. I cried the whole way home. It was a very emotional day. You felt kind of defeated going home. On our way home. We kind of felt defeated. We felt set up. We kind of felt all the things. So
So when you say that what you were witnessing wasn't matching the media, what do you mean by that? Because we saw the videos where they were like climbing and
I don't know what you guys were seeing. I only know what I was seeing, and there
no, but I'm
wasn't.
saying when you got home later, I'm sure you watched all of these videos. They
Yes,
were like playing
yes, and
24/7 for like
it looked
a few weeks.
terrible. Correct.
Did you say, "Oh, I remember that," or maybe was that on another side of the building that you couldn't see, or
It could have absolutely been on another side of the building, but there wasn't even
got
like a
it?
swarm of like police or anything that like or sirens that really concerned us a whole lot. There wasn't a huge police presence when I
Got it. I see what you're saying. So from your end, it was a lack of presence there from
Yeah, it just
authorities.
didn't seem like there was a huge, like they're making it sound like there's this huge terroristic attack on the Capitol building, and there wasn't like a huge presence of anything that was super concerning. I mean, I did see like I said, the smashing of the windows, and not smashing, I didn't see that. I saw the climbing and the hitting of the windows. I saw people pleading with police officers to please do something. I saw the smoke bombs, but I didn't see a whole lot of violence or terroristic acts.
So you saw people telling the police, "Please do something," and were you able to hear a response from the police? What
No,
were they
they didn't say
saying?
anything. They just stood there with their arms crossed.
Wow. And I'm sure that broke your heart as well.
It did. It really did.
Yeah.
It was a very, very emotional day. And coming out of DC, I told my husband I never want to go there again because you felt such an evil presence there. And I don't know if it was that day, but you kind of just felt not good there.
Wow. Okay, so then did you leave right away or did you stay and actually witnessed when they entered the
I don't
Capitol?
I don't want to say that I left right away. I think that we were there when they said that people were entering the Capitol building, and apparently we were there when the whole Babbitt thing happened. And I feel like we were close enough to the Capitol building where we would have heard gunshots, and we didn't. So that was kind of concerning to me too. And you think that there would be a higher police presence for that, and there just wasn't. So I don't want to say that we left right away, but we definitely didn't stay like into the evening or like late afternoon, that type of thing. We might have stuck around for 2 hours.
Got it. So when authorities got there and there was a heavy presence of police and armed forces later on, did you see that or no? Or you were gone by that time
I
already?
was probably gone by that time because I
You were
didn't.
probably gone. Okay. Okay. So were you able to see these individuals enter the Capitol at some point or no? Or did you just
I
witness
didn't see.
the
I
climbing and
didn't.
stuff?
I just witnessed the outside of the building. I didn't see anybody force their way into the building at all.
Got it. No, but I'm saying like from afar, do you see maybe the large group entering? You're like, oh, they made it inside, or you
No,
were just not able to see that.
I just was not able to see that.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Copy. Okay. So then that's wild, by the way, everything you shared. That's wow.
It's crazy. It was a very crazy day.
It almost makes you very angry,
It does. We were
when you
very
start
angry.
putting two and two together.
Yeah, for sure.
What happened next? You mentioned there was something that you felt that you were targeted, and what happened to you after that?
So a couple weeks later, the FBI and state police showed up at my door. And
They showed up at your door?
they sh yeah.
What?
I hate you. Yeah. So they showed up at my door. They were not nice. Obviously, I was not very nice either. I really wasn't. I'm just kind of like, what are you like? If you put more effort into election fraud, you probably wouldn't be standing at my doorstep right now. They didn't think it was funny. Um,
That is so insane. So wait a minute. When you went to this protest, right? Did you sign any paperwork or anything online that there was a proof that you were there? I'm trying to figure out how did they know you were there
they
in
bought
the
the
area
same
because you were not
software
even
needed.
inside the Capitol. So how I'm
They
trying to
bought
figure out
that.
how would they know?
They, I, they had like a file of my social media. Like they,
Oh,
like because
social
I
media.
see that you, like, I have 36,000 followers now. This is like my seventh account. I did have like hundreds of thousands of followers on this
On
before.
TikTok
So,
or Facebook?
between TikTok and Instagram. So they considered me an influencer, and I had an influence over lots of people because they came specifically for me, right? They didn't want anything to do with my husband. They didn't care about Dan, and Dan was there.
Oh, so they got you via social media then.
They did, and I truly do believe that
Wow.
they were able to identify me and find my address based off of the software. They bought the cell phone pings in that area that day. I think that's
Okay.
how they identified a lot of people.
Okay, I see. By the way, you said this is your third TikTok account?
No, this is like my seventh.
Seventh?
I swear to God, I'm probably lowballing too.
But why? Why? What happened to your other accounts?
They just get taken down.
But what did they usually give you a reason?
Yeah, because I misinformation or because I'm a bully or because I'm inappropriate. Like the normal things they give you for banning your account.
But I mean, you sound very nice. I mean, like
I
what, you
am
get
very
to you
nice.
get
And
into
I
like
have a lot
shout
of
matches with
liberal
liberals or something, or what's going on there?
No, I have a lot of liberal and democratic friends on this app. And actually, when I go live on my own account, I am very pleasant. Like, I get verbally abused in the comment section by
So do I,
liberals.
by the way. I mean, yeah, so
I'm
do I.
sure. Yeah,
But
so I don't, I'm not sure.
but what is it? Do you reply to comments, or do you reply to comments, by the way, or did you reply to comments back then?
The only comments that I reply to are when somebody hears one of my kids come in the room and they're like, "Oh God, God love those." Like, if you're gonna attack my kids, like I'm gonna give you some hate back. But other
Okay.
than that, like, no, I don't really.
Yeah, that's why I'm very cautious with replying comments. And the reason I ask you that is because I hear this a lot from other influencers and people that have big accounts on social media that they got banned. Usually it's related because they reply to a comment in a negative manner.
Yeah,
And they sort of get you through that because there's proof. That's what I think anyway.
like,
But I'm seeing
yeah.
that pattern that when you answer to comments and you get
Oh,
sort
you
of
mean like
negative.
actually answer to like negative comments like on my videos, not on my lives? No, I don't really answer to any comments really. Sometimes I'll put positive things on there for people that are nice to me, but I don't
No,
really
but now, but I'm saying like back then you said if they brought up your kids, you sort of defended
like in
them
a
in the comment
live.
section
Like in a
in a live.
live, like I'll clap back in a live, not like on a written comment on my social media.
When you got banned, was it after doing a live or you just logged in the next day and you were
Mostly,
like, oh,
mostly whenever I would do a live.
you see?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
matching. It's matching to the comment, to the reply in the comments. Yeah. Yeah, you got.
I never say anything that's like over the top, like harassing or like super, like I never really, and I see that I have Mel in here and she's one of my buddies. I think she could vouch for me that I really never clap back that
No,
way.
and I believe you. And I believe you. The thing is, and it sucks that it seems to be that way, but I'm seeing this pattern where white people are being attacked lately, more than ever before. And it seems like, again, I don't know if you're European, like background?
Irish,
Irish.
Italian.
Yeah. Okay. So, I say this because when they report you, they can say things even though they are false,
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
and because of your skin color, I believe, that's my opinion, they target you guys more than probably somebody else. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
So they can say, "Oh, she was racist towards me, and I'm this, and I'm Latino or I'm black or whatever," and boom, they read
Yep.
that right away,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you're out. They don't even give you a chance. That's what I think.
You're probably right.
Yeah, that's the pattern I'm seeing. Do you, by the way, as a white person, do you feel you're walking on eggshells when it comes to
Yes.
saying what
All
you
the
really want to
time.
say? Yeah,
Yes.
because you'll be
It's
labeled a racist, correct?
yes, it's horrible to be a white person right now in 2023. I just want everybody to know. Or
No, I
2024.
believe you.
Gosh, I'm behind.
No, I believe you 100%. I mean, the things that I've reported, by the way, on my page, I'm not sure if you've seen it, when it comes to the southern border and the crisis that's happening. And I tell my wife this all the time when we have conversations. I'm like, I gotta say this stuff because a white person cannot say what I'm saying on social media.
No.
They can't.
No.
They will get banned right away.
It's true.
They'll be labeled a racist, a Triple K supporter right away. And so it's like, what is happening to this country? Like, you can't say the truth anymore
You really
because
can't.
you'll be labeled something right away.
Correct.
Something that ends in phobic or, a racist.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
You're 100% right. And I just want to take a minute to thank you for being a voice for us to stick up and stand up for what you see. I mean, it's common sense, but it really is. Like, it's tough to walk around and not so much in my area. I guess I'm pretty lucky. I live in a mostly conservative, like, white, and we do have black people and Hispanics and things here, but not many. Like, I live in Amish country in the middle of a field. So, not many, but when we do go to like bigger cities, like we went to Panama City Beach this year. We went to Philadelphia a couple years ago because my little guy is so into American history. That was where he wanted to go for his birthday, is to see all the history stuff. Like, it's extremely hard to not. I mean, you really just don't talk to people.
Yeah, no, and exactly. And yeah, and maybe like I said, I'm not saying everywhere. I'm sure like, with your family, you can speak freely, but like you, right? You have your pages on social media. Like, you cannot say half the things I say about migrants because you'll get canceled right away.
Correct. 100%.
And it's just such a shame because we have to accept the reality of things, regardless of race, regardless of color. And I just feel, I feel really bad that that's happening to the white community. I feel like nobody talks about the white community ever. It's like, it's always the black, Latino community.
We're trying to, I feel like people are trying to just like squish us. Like, I feel like we're the ones that are like, not like everybody says white privilege. And like, I feel like.
Where's the white privilege? Because you can't speak anymore.
I'm not privileged.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's the white privilege because you can't even speak anymore. I mean,
no.
Yeah. I mean, you're the perfect example. You've been banned so many times.
For sure. For sure.
Wow. So, but just to clarify, so you haven't seen a specific pattern when it comes to getting banned on TikTok or Instagram, whatever. Like, oh, I went on this live, or I got into an argument and I got banned. Or do you see a pattern like that? I'm just trying to figure out if it was like the same thing usually. Or
Um,
was it more like you posted a video and you got banned? Or did they give you a warning at least?
Sometimes it was banned. No, I never got a warning for my entire account being banned. Like I just woke up one morning and it was gone. And I could appeal it, or I could not appeal it, like whatever I wanted to do. I appealed it once and never got it back, so I never tried to again. I just come back, and that's why my it was like conservative Shan 1.0, conservative Shan 2.0, conservative Shan 3.0, and finally, like this last one, I got sick of making like the numbers, so I just put conservative Shan returns. I think I went up to like 7 or 8.0.
Incredible. Wow. And you still do your lives anyway, right? You're
Yeah,
used to it already.
yeah, for sure.
Wow. No, I appreciate that you do that, and it's a shame that that's happening. That's just crazy. Um, okay, so then let's go back to the FBI, please. That was
Okay.
wild.
Okay.
They knock on your door, and how is that first interaction like? Do they go like in the movies to show you the badge like this, or how
Um,
does that happen?
they were very no, they were very like flat affected. They had no it was almost like they weren't real. Like they had no personality. They were very like not nice. They didn't talk to me at all. The state police did all the talking. And it
Oh,
ended
so
up that I
it was them plus the state police.
correct.
Wow.
And
So
it
were they just like in the background looking at you, or what?
yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And they wanted to question me about January 6th. And obviously I told them because I didn't do anything wrong.
Hmm.
So I gave them my spiel and
Was it inside your home?
it was outside. I wouldn't let them inside. My dogs are crazy. Like I have German shepherds. They wouldn't like them.
Makes
Uh,
sense.
yeah. So, yeah, it was not like a super pleasant interaction, but the state police was very nice. I mean, he was kind of like, well, what was your purpose for going to January 6th? And I was like, well, the same purpose as everybody else. I went to listen to a sitting president speak about the 2020 election, something that I wholeheartedly believed that he's right about, and I have the right to do that. Um, so he's like, you didn't go with any ill intentions. That was your only intention. And I said, yeah. He said, did you walk up to the Capitol building with everybody else? I said, I did, but we were outside of a restricted area. And he had all of, like, I showed him all of my footage where there's signs everywhere and all of my footage where you could see the restricted area signs on the fence in front of where I was standing. So they were able to see that I was not in a restricted area. I was not charged with anything. After it was all said and
Wait, so the FBI was able to see you were not inside the area?
done, with my
How were they able to see that again?
footage, they took my word for it, I guess, because they couldn't really prove otherwise. I mean, they
I
couldn't
see.
prove that I mean, I didn't cause any type of damage. I didn't, um, I, I, I mean, they could have like cuffed me and took me to jail, I guess, if they didn't want to take my word for it. So I guess it could have
Wow.
went a lot worse. However, 2 weeks later, the State Department shows up at my house.
Are you kidding?
I swear to God. And I know that my husband was standing on the other side of the door thinking, oh my God, she is going to get arrested because I like unloaded when I answered the door. Like I was swearing, I was cussing. I was like, I cannot even believe that you're standing outside my freaking door right now. I didn't say freaking. That it was more vulgar than that. Like
Right.
what are you, like what serious? Like what can you possibly
Oh,
want from me?
I wish you would have recorded that. Do you have a
I
Ring
wish
camera?
I would have too. I absolutely wish I would have too.
Oh, that
And
would have been
I like
great right now.
I just was not expecting her to be at my door. And I know that my husband was on the other like this is it. She's going to jail. She's going to like flip out on this lady and the ladies or she's going to call the police. Um
Wow.
so she basically told me that because I attended an insurrection and because I refused to wear masks outside of work and because I refused to get the COVID vaccine, that basically she could take my license. And I literally looked her in my nursing license, by the way. I literally looked her in the face and said, like, if this is how it's going to be with you guys showing up at my door every couple of weeks, let me go get it for you and save you the trouble. You can have it. Like, I
Wait,
don't
hold on a
want it.
second. She said this to you
Yes, she did.
because of insurrection, because of the vaccine?
Yes.
But how did it get that far? Like she got to your door, and what happened during the conversation that she made those
She
threats?
basically was like, I'm here because the FBI has investigated you. You attended an insurrection. You refused to wear your masks outside of work, and you
What?
refused the vaccine. So I can take your license on the base of nursing code of ethics because this is really not like this doesn't represent nursing code of ethics. And that's how she planned on fighting that in court.
Wait, so did this
That's
go
what
to
she said
court?
she was going to use. No.
Oh, she was going
So
to. Okay.
yes, that's how she said she was going to.
But what was the purpose of that? Like, did she say unless you do this,
No,
or
she
was she
said
telling
that
you?
these accusations were she asked if I wanted to write a statement on a piece of paper. I said no. Absolutely, like I don't. Like I gave my statement to the
Oh,
FBI.
so that's what it was. She wanted you to put it in writing,
Right. And I told her no. So I
and
didn't.
that's what made her say that to you.
Yeah. So I didn't put anything in writing. And I obviously contacted my attorney right away, who represented
Good.
our state PA election in 2020. He fought really hard for that. He's badass. He was like up in guns, like ready to like fight these people, go to Harrisburg, um, and nothing ever came of it. And I think it's because I truly think it's because I didn't put anything in writing because I didn't write a statement.
Yeah. By the way, it's funny because my lives usually get more views than this, but every time I put Trump or something related to that, TikTok doesn't
Yeah,
push my
me
live to
too.
my
Yeah,
followers.
same,
Yeah.
for sure.
So if you guys want to share this live to at least one friend, that would be great because I notice a pattern here. I'm going to have to call them something else so
Yeah,
other people can hear these conversations because it's really hard to bump up the numbers here on TikTok once you're talking about Trump or anything like that.
I know it is.
Um,
It's becoming more and more difficult. I do the same thing, and I don't really go live a whole lot anymore because it's either that or my videos get pushed to like a liberal Democrat algorithm,
yeah.
and I just get
Yeah.
eaten alive. And like I don't care. I hold my own. It's like whatever. But
Yeah. Even in the comment section, a nationalist is saying if you have a dull life, double the views. Yep, absolutely. If you have something against Trump, it has a lot of views.
mhm.
Um, okay, so then how did this, thank you, Kraken. How did this end with this person? What was the outcome of that?
With the State Department,
Yes,
she
the State
asked me
Department lady.
she asked me several times if I was sure that I didn't want to make a statement because it would look better in court if I said it in writing. I said no, I would like to go defend myself with my attorney in court verbally like everybody else. And you know what she told me? That I would not be present for the hearing.
Wow, I really wish you would have recorded all of this.
I really
You
wish
could
I
have
would
you could have a
too.
big lawsuit right there.
I know my lawyer was like really worked up about that.
I would have been your lawyer at that point.
I know.
I would have
I know.
signed up. Wow, that's insane. Okay, so then what happened? She made this threat once again, and you said no. So what
No,
happened?
yeah, and she kind of like decided, I guess, or took the L and decided to just go. She gave me her card. Like I was gonna call her if I decided to write a statement or something. And I threw it away, and I didn't really, obviously, I met with my attorney after that, and I didn't
Yeah.
really hear anything else. However, I did work in
Thank you,
healthcare
Kraken.
for
Go
a
ahead.
short period of time, and I had a black SUV follow me for several days that looked exactly like the black SUV that showed up at my house the day that the FBI showed up. So who knows?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, who knows? They were
Wow.
probably just making sure I was doing my job and not, I don't know, spreading Trump propaganda.
Thank you, Joshua, and thank you, Kraken. I appreciate you guys. How did you feel, by the way, Shan? Thank you, Texas Jane. How do you feel, Shan, when you were going through all of this? What was your train of thought? What were you saying to your husband? Like, what were you thinking? Thank you. Hopefully, I appreciate you.
I
Joshua.
wasn't afraid because I knew I was going to take these people head on. And I made it very clear to the FBI that I was not afraid of them and the state police. Like, I am not afraid of you. So you can say, threaten, whatever you want. I was very angry. I was very, very angry. And I think that attitude and that mindset, like, I kept a positive mindset about it the whole time. I thought to myself for weeks and weeks, like, they can't do anything. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I wasn't in a restricted area. I didn't vandalize anything. I didn't hurt anybody. I went to listen to a sitting president speak as my right as an American citizen. There's no like nursing law that says that you have to stay out of like rallies and speeches in Washington D.C. when big events are going on. Like, so I prayed a lot. But at the like I never acted scared. I never like bowed down to them. I never gave in to anybody. It was a lot. It was a lot, but
You're very strong. I got to tell you that.
Thank you.
Because most people will freak out. Oh yeah, the FBI is knocking on my door.
Oh yeah, I know. I know they would have.
Yeah, you're very strong.
Story,
yeah.
People are like, "What?" I was like, "Oh yeah."
Wow. I'm going to open the panel here for discussion. If you guys want to join, Crankin wants to join. We've been here. I usually open the panel after an hour of discussions.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kraken.
Hey, how's
welcome to the panel.
Doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I voted for Trump in 2020, and after what happened on the 6th, I was kind of torn, I guess you could say. Torn in the sense that if it was my people, I was kind of like ashamed of the gallows and things like that. But at the same time, there was a lot of infiltrators in the crowd that made us look bad. So, like, in that sense, I want to say I was torn. But for the most part, I'm still a Trump supporter, and I'm a conservative, and I want America first, just like every other conservative. Our problem should come first before sending billions of dollars to Ukraine or Israel.
I have to
agree
with you, and I do just want to touch.
Well, I agree with America first, but the other one, yeah, go ahead, Shan.
I kind of just want to touch on. There's radical people on both sides.
Right. So exactly.
And the news, the media always records the bad actors, right? And they dangle it, like conservative media dangles the Democrat bad actors in conservatives' faces, and the liberal media dangles the liberal bad actors in conservative faces, so that we're all fighting. I can genuinely tell you that a very small percentage of people out of the majority of people that attended January 6th went with ill intentions and behaved badly. So when you're looking at the majority of people that were there and that represented you, I think that it's safe to say that your people and the people that represent you did a good job.
I believe that. I'm saying if they were actors that did the wrong things, then forgive me for saying that I condemn some of the guys, which I think most of them were actors or undercovers, if you know what I mean.
And that could be, but and I'm not saying that there weren't Trump supporters in that crowd too, because I think it's pretty unrealistic to think that. But like I said, there's radical people on both sides that aren't going to represent the party well, and those are the people that I just don't align with, and I don't mingle with, and try to stay away from.
And for a fact,
but even that, like you said, Shan, there's still a lot of questions because you witnessed some things that just are not adding up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there were
Shan,
a lot of factors.
Yeah. So in the comment section, Tim Scat, it's saying if you contacted the nursing, I'm trying to find the comment here. Oh yeah, did she ever contact the nursing board? Did you ever contact anybody besides your lawyer? By the way.
No, and I actually asked him about that whenever I met with him, and we had shared a couple texts back and forth. He wanted them to do all of the work. He wanted them to contact us. He wanted them to subpoena us. He wanted them to do all of the footwork. We weren't going to bring anything to light. We weren't going to say, hey, we're still waiting for a fight. We wanted them to pick the fight so that they, you know what I mean? Like, so that we had a leg to stand on, where we were just kind of like hanging back, waiting for them to make the first move, and they never did.
Got it. So you were just waiting.
Right.
And nothing ever happened, correct?
No.
No.
Yeah, can I ask, it
Okay.
was a State Department person who visited you?
Oh,
By the way, just for the record, just for the YouTube crowd, this is username KB. Welcome to the panel. Go ahead, Shan. She can answer.
Sorry, thank you.
so I actually don't. It's been quite a few years. I did actually make a video with her business card, like her card. And it has since been thrown away. Like, I had no interest in keeping
Okay,
it.
right. So, right, for the I wouldn't want that energy around. But here's what I'm thinking. Like, so you're saying the person who was talking about your nursing license was from the State Department.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, in any case,
That's a direct threat.
if you can remember who it is, the name, I would actually submit this to I would actually get it to, right. So if Trump is going to become president, you're going to want whoever the representative is, so that's really creepy.
That's a
And
direct
the
threat.
whole situation was very creepy. I think I was followed by the FBI for a few weeks, even
Sure.
a year after that. And just the FBI showing up at my door was very creepy, let alone the lady from the State Department 2 or 3 weeks later.
They might still be watching you, by the way.
Yeah.
They absolutely were. They
Oh,
were.
well.
So here's the deal. Like, I don't know. I don't know what your lawyer told you. Nobody should ever talk to the feds. Please, feds, don't come visit me. Like, they
Do
could pay
not
my
talk
ham
to them.
sandwich, and that is actually, I've met them. I've met federal prosecutors. They actually will simply, once they're engaged, they're going to go to get at the person for anything, because they're engaged and that's how they make their money, and they remain on staff. You know what I mean? They remain,
And they find a way to make you fall for anything.
right. So
Correct. So
is not to be taken lightly.
correct. And so they did actually not communicate with me at all. I think they did a lot of listening and a lot of writing, and my lawyer did actually scold me for talking to them.
Okay, yeah. So yeah. Okay, good. Because like I had a friend's son who was approached, um, which was atrocious what they did. They were trying. He's young. He had worked on a political action committee with some folks that had been there at January 6th, like trying to get the heads of that. Okay, using him, scaring. They showed up, three of them, and then four of them, like, and kept coming over, like trying to pressure him. And so like that's just, it's just awful. And so if his work saw him, right, because he had a different job, like that's what they were doing, and they were trying to fleece him to be the insider to get some other folks. And it just
And this was in regards to January 6th too, KB?
yeah, well, they were big donors, and they were there, but they never proceeded to the Capitol.
Got it.
Well, I did throw my husband under the bus. I was like, well,
Oh no. Oh no.
No.
Oh no.
I was like,
where's your husband? Is he there?
Oh my god, now it's a reality.
He was there too.
Poor guy.
But they never questioned him. They still didn't care. They didn't give a
my
list.
husband under the bus. He climbed up here and he broke a window.
But what's interesting is that, like you said, it's probably because you had a social media presence.
I did. That's why. They did say that.
Yeah.
Because I had an influence.
Oh, they did say it.
Yeah.
They did say it. Wow. I'm wondering if we're all being watched now.
If you have a bigger social media, you absolutely are. And they're using that software where they buy those pings to identify
Yeah.
you, to keep an eye on you. Like, I'm telling you, they are.
When you say
The
a
State
big, what do you
Department still
qualify
had a
as
file of my
big?
social media.
When should I start being worried when I hit what amount of followers?
Well, at that point, I think I was
Or
close to
do you
100K
think, again,
on TikTok.
pure speculation, guys, and all
I
entertainment only. So when do you think I should, or us, should start be worried about them watching?
Well, like I said, at that time, I had probably almost 100K. I was close to 100K on TikTok. However, they could have been following me for a long time because, like I said, the State Department, not the State Department, the state police did say that they had a file of my social media. So who knows?
Wow. You know something there, I just want you to know something. Months and months ago, like last year, a year ago, like I feel I was with this group on here who are all ex-military, right? They're like special ops and like seriously, you know, they know stuff, right?
Right.
And one of them made a mention that there's some, you know, from characters on here you have to really be careful. And like I had already pinpointed one. I was like, this guy, I can just, the thing is, I'm near a military base, and so I talk to these people all the time when they're and they'll tell you, you know, military intelligence folks are like, you know, and the old ones, they'll tell you how everything works. And so
if
I was
you're an
listening to
army
this
brat.
guy, and I was listening to this guy, and I was just like, man, like everybody catching on his cadence, the way he speaks, and the way he keeps asking these questions, like he's, I don't know, playing both sides. And everyone was like, yeah, we're kind of catching on that he's sitting in our group trying to figure out what we're about. And that's what they do. They'll go sit in one group, listen a little bit, they'll sit in another group. And it's, you know, we have military intelligence from the army doing it. So
I'm
whatever,
sure
it is
that
what
does
it
not
is.
surprise me at all.
But they've been doing it since the 60s.
I'm sure.
The old timers here, I should get some of them on TikTok.
You
They've got
should.
awesome stories. So they'll
Yeah,
tell
you
you how
could. Yeah. Okay, so Shan, wow. I mean, that's an amazing story. And by the way, after that, have you dealt with anything like that or no?
Not yet. Knock on wood.
So when was the last time you encountered this? Was it 2021 or 2022?
So 2021, probably the FBI showed up here like maybe March, and then the State Department showed up a couple weeks later, and then probably that summer is when I felt like I was being followed by this black SUV for a couple weeks, like they were watching me. It was really weird. And I think that's really the last time that I've seen anybody or have been.
That's wild. Did you share any of these stories when they were happening to your social media accounts?
I did.
You did.
And I think so. I have met. I don't know if you guys know who Doug Mastriano is. He ran for governor in Pennsylvania in 2022.
I do. I'm from PA.
Okay, so I met him. I actually have his phone number. He's a really good guy. I talk to
Yeah.
him often. He invited me to several Trump rallies. I have met Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Mm.
I have met Dan Scavino. General Flynn follows me on X. He's my only follower because I am not very active on X, but so, and Doug follows me on all social media except for X because I don't think he's on X. But I have met some pretty cool people. I have actually, some Trump delegates have reached out to me over this because they have seen my story. I've had the Trump campaign.
So you got these contacts because you shared your
think
story.
Yeah, I think that's how.
Okay, I see.
Amen.
But can you think of, I mean, this is awful that you had to go through that as a American, you know, like you're being persecuted and targeted. I just think like what a tremendous waste of money. Like the things that they could be doing.
Absolutely. And time
said
too.
That
Yeah.
to the FBI. I said, literally, you are spending all of this time tracking me. Like, if you spent more time on election fraud, you probably wouldn't have had to come to my doorstep today. I mean, let's be honest.
I hope they're tracking that guy that said, "So you know who I am," at the border.
Right.
The same way.
Yeah, right. Where is he at?
Yeah. I hope they're, interviewing him by now. Probably not. Who knows? But
It has to be a
wow.
little frustrating for some of them, though. You know what I mean? That's why I like, I don't want to ever vilify a group. It's because some people take orders. There's no way
Well,
to stick
yeah,
their
they
head
have
out.
orders to take, and when you
Yeah.
work for a federal agency like that, like you can't defy, like that's your job. So, and I know they really, and I know that that interaction could have got a lot worse, could have went a lot worse. Um, but I think I was very fortunate in the fact that they didn't associate with me. They didn't talk to me. They just looked really mean, and it was very tense. There was a lot of tension in the air. The state police trooper guy was very nice to me, um, but I think it could really have went a lot worse than what it did.
Wow. Wow, that's such a shame to hear that, but very important for us to hear that. Um, Shan, thank you for sharing all of that. I do want to go over some of the links you sent me. Can you please elaborate here? What did you send me
Okay,
here that you want
so
to share?
I sent you lots of links because in case anybody came on to debate me, I had some receipts.
So let's bring one up just for kicks. Thank you, Kraken. Which one do you want to bring up
Okay,
here
so
that you
I
want to
know we
share?
talked about racism and phobias
Yeah.
and things like that. I think I attached a executive order on what Trump would do to protect people like Black people, Hispanics, LGBTQ. I have posted, or I have
So
sent
let's see. I
you.
have two emails from you. Which
Yeah.
can you tell me the website or maybe so I can? Because you
Oh,
sent me a lot of links, Shannon.
I did, because I
I'm
know
glad, by
that
the way. I'm
you
not
would.
complaining. I'm happy. This is great.
So, and I did send like some YouTube videos on him like condemning white supremacy, and I think I sent a YouTube video on him condemning January 6th and how those people that behaved the way that they didn't represent us or our movement. And I know a lot of people said that he incited it and he supported that, and that's just not the case. So I did send him that with the words straight out of his mouth.
Yes, I
Um,
pulled up one video here that does say Trump condemning white supremacy compilation, and it's about 4 minutes long. And I've seen this video before, by the way, and it dates back even before 2016,
It's
correct?
like critters.
Yeah. Yeah, just because we've seen a lot on the mainstream media where they're like, "Oh, he never condemned them," and they're like, he has condemned them for like 1 million
Never,
times in the
literally
past."
ever. And I'm pretty sure that he dated a Black woman.
Oh yeah, that model. Totally. And
Yeah.
she thought he
I
like
heard
came
about
on and
that.
said what a wonderful man he is, and so,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it's
it's
just
insane.
completely ridiculous.
It's
It's typical identity politics that the left loves to continue to pursue, and it's failing. It's failing miserably because the blacks and Latinos continue to switch. The trend is going up for Latinos and blacks turning conservatives more than before.
Correct.
So I do have that. I do have a link here though. It says fact check. Obama administration approved build temporary holding
Yes.
enclosures at southern
So,
border. Do you want to elaborate
yes.
on that, Shannon?
So, everybody likes to say that Trump's border policy caused family separation and kids to go in cages. And that just wasn't the case because Obama built those cages. Obama was also for building a wall. He built the cages. So let's start there. But also, Trump signed an executive order, and I think it's the first link that I sent you that he wanted to stop family separation at the border because the family separation just was not
They
working. He
don't
didn't
care.
like it. He didn't like it, so he fought to stop that. So I did attach several links pertaining to that because that's something that a lot of people like to fight with me about as well.
He put a woman was in charge of the DHS, two of them. It was
Correct.
one woman and then another woman followed, and she was very clear about the process and how
Where
they've
is
sped it
one?
they've sped it up so families weren't separated, because she was very clear about how they knew how many like children were not related to that, right? So children were being trafficked, right? And so
Correct.
they were so much more clear than I've ever seen an administration be. I was so happy about it.
And they
Like,
did say too, she did mention too about the DNA testing and the children with the people that they came over the border.
You'll have to go to your.
yeah, like they sped that up. I felt like the second one was so effective. She was on it. Like it was great to see.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm looking at the meme here. It's pretty funny. I actually never saw that meme before. I'm referring to the meme where you have Obama superimposed, well, his face anyway, on a construction worker, and there are migrants and believe some kids also in these cages. And the headline of the meme is says Michelle Obama says Trump is putting kids in cages, and then the subsequent text says guy who built the cages, and it's Obama in front of the cages, and the kids behind him. It's I've never seen that meme before. Wow.
Yeah.
But that is correct. He did do that.
Yeah.
He did do that. But the media, once again, they're not going to highlight that, and they never asked him. I don't think I ever watched a reporter asked those questions to Obama. Have you?
No, never.
No, right?
No.
Well, and he also ran on a border wall. Like I remember it explicitly him talking about it, call it a fence, and then Hillary Clinton coming in double down, like they were competing for. Yes, well, I am for a very strong border. They both ran on it,
Yeah.
and
then in 2006, most of the Democrats voted yes on a wall.
Right, led by.
Yes.
Yes, I'm reading that here too, Shannon, that you did send that link also. Yes, this was signed by President Bush, the Secure Fence Act. That's what you're referring to, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me see. Then followed by, yeah. So the headline of the article is the Obama-Biden administration built more than 100 miles of border wall. The Biden-Harris administration should tear walls down. So it just the back and forth, right? They're always flip-flopping on everything. But yeah, they ran on that. Do you think, by the way, that the border crisis will be the reason why this administration is going to lose in November? Do you think that's the main reason, or you think it's something else, like the economy or inflation?
I think it's a mixture of everything. Like, we're just not doing well as a whole. Like, we're not safe. We're paying immense amounts of money for daily living. We're like, there's bombs being dropped everywhere. Like, everybody's fighting. Like, we're just not doing well. And I think it's just like everything combined is why they're going to lose.
Yeah. I believe honestly that the border crisis is the main thing. That's what I think, because people are reacting to this in a strong fashion online and in these communities, especially the sanctuary cities. I mean, before, a lot of these individuals that were calling Trump a racist now are saying, bring Trump back.
Yes. Yeah.
Bring him back right now. It's crazy. Like, they change. And again, the mainstream media will not report on that. It's not convenient. It goes against their narrative. But that's what I'm seeing in a lot of these sanctuary cities and online and via communications. I do talk to a lot of people online as well. No, I'm in Nevada, so I'm nowhere near that. But it's just amazing to me seeing these individuals that hated Trump, and now they're saying, Trump was right.
Yeah.
He was right. That's just amazing, Sometimes I think, even though it might be a little bit messed up to say, but sometimes I think that Biden winning was something that we needed so that other people can open their eyes.
I agree. Yes.
You know what I mean?
100% agree.
Because if Biden would have never won, this would have continued. Deb is saying hello. Hello, Deb. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming. So I think that Biden winning was certainly something that we need it, unfortunately, so that other people can open their eyes and be like, Trump was right. So, Shan, do you think Trump will win this year?
Like for the nomination or like in November?
Well, no, nomination is clear. That's a that's a
Yeah.
given. Honestly, I think the presidential is a given too. But what do you think
I
about
was
that?
actually nervous for New Hampshire, not that New Hampshire really I actually thought Nikki Haley was going to take New Hampshire.
Really? You
Yeah.
thought that?
Yes, because
Why?
New Hampshire. I'm actually from New Hampshire. I know a lot of people, not from, but I lived in New Hampshire for a while, and so I have a lot of friends there, and they're very liberal minded. Even if they claim to be conservative, they were just very against Trump. So I feel like they wanted to vote in a Republican, but not anybody but Trump. So I was really nervous that Haley was going to take New Hampshire. So I was really happy to see that. But I really do think it'll be. I want to say it's going to be close for the election in 2024 for the presidential election, but I think Trump will win.
Got it. Do you think we'll see the same mess we witnessed back in 2020?
Well, I think it's going to depend on what happens and what comes to light between now and then. Because we have a lot of things happening, like the Hunter Biden investigation and the Democrats' involvement in that. I mean, it all starts with Joe Biden, right? But there were other people with their hands in that situation, and the Epstein files coming out and people's involvement in that. And I think it's just going to really depend on what comes to light between now and then.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
I
go
know
ahead,
you're
Kate.
from
You can
now.
the same question for you, by the way.
Yeah, now I know you're in Nevada. I didn't know that. Why did I keep thinking you were in Arizona? But
Oh
west.
no, if I was in Arizona, I would have been doing the live from the border already.
I'm good. All right.
You know me, I would have been there already. By the way, I may go to Arizona soon to do some interviews. I
Oh,
may.
wow. Okay. Um, yeah, maybe you need a GoFundMe and we'll fund you. So, Shauna, where are you? What state are you in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, I thought you said that. But Kraken's there too. Okay. So what are you hearing about how the voting system there was cleaned up, not like how are people feeling about it?
So I think here we're not 100% confident just because of how our last election went. There was a lot of systems that shut down. They ran out of ballots. Places were closing early. Like there was a lot of monkey business going on here in our last election as well. Sharpie Gate is a big thing here. Like they want us to use Sharpies on everything. So I'm still not 100% confident in the way. Now, if Doug Mastriano would have got voted in, I would have had a lot more confidence in that, but he didn't. We have Josh Shapiro, who was our DA. And he obviously, I mean, we see Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and the crime rates and him letting people out of jail and those types of things. So we have somebody running our state that is for crime, basically. It was a mess whenever he was I think it was the DA. So I'm just not super confident at all.
So you're worried then?
I am worried for Pennsylvania, for sure.
Wow.
So this is what I heard from someone who Jovan? Was it Jovan? There's two guys. There's two guys that do heavy technical analysis, and he had felt like the Republicans weren't very well engaged in Pennsylvania. That's why I ask. He felt like they weren't actually stepping up and really making sure that things are.
Well, we have a lot of rhinos here. we
Okay.
have a lot of we have a lot of Republicans that run on political ideologies and lined pockets and do what they're told to do. So
we
it's no
yeah.
surprise.
We had that in Florida, by the way. So when I got down here, there were five, and what are we down to? I think we pushed three out last time, or yeah. So it's been like even in Florida. So I was part of Defend America, and there's Defend Florida. So basically, people go door to door to verify voting. That's right.
Okay.
It's the way to really verify it. So I'm going to rejoin them. Uh, because I really thought things were getting cleared up. But from Florida's perspective, like we did still have issues. It's just they were more minimal here because we'd already gone through a mess um previous to that, right? And we had Al Gore, Bush, we had craziness in Palm Beach that DeSantis actually came and had to adjudicate, but I'm going to join them again.
For sure. And I know your last election went a lot better than ours. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Ron DeSantis, and I have never been, not even before his and Trump's little squall. Like, it wasn't because Trump decided he was going to go against DeSantis that I decided that. It was, I had never trusted Ron DeSantis from the very beginning. Like, I thought that he was a super shady guy.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, look, the thing was, it was him or I moved here right when that was going down, so I was like, well, I'm not going to vote for Gillum. Um, but
Right.
but so interesting that you say that because I have some constitutionalist friends, new ones. They're ones that actually involved in the Republican Party as a choice, even though they're constitutionalists, and they cannot stand him. So
No,
what you just felt like he was shady, or did you know some?
I did. From the very beginning, from the very beginning. And even like my husband and my dad and my friends, they told me I was crazy, that I was nuts, that he was like the best thing ever. He was going to be Trump's VP, which could never happen because they're both from Florida. But like I have never, and then all of this stuff started coming out and I started researching. He put in an executive order or some type of policy that COVID vaccines would be mandated if there was an emergency or like a huge outbreak or something along those lines. And I do have that document in a file on my phone, or at least I did on my old phone. I can easily track it down, and Trump even posted that. Um, and then you look at who funded his campaign, and his name is Ken Griffith, and he is a Republican mega millionaire donor, but he also was like the co-executor or something for BlackRock.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if
I
you
know
guys
his
know.
name. Yeah.
So, and then he had ties to Epstein as well. And then you have these pictures of DeSantis partying with these underage girls because he was a college professor. Um,
I don't know. I didn't know any of this, by the way. I mean,
so I, yeah, so I really just don't trust that. I mean, he goes against everything that we have stood against for all of this time. He's an elite. He bowed down, he folded. I think maybe when he first came in, he had good intentions, but money talks, and I think that he took money from the wrong people.
it's funny. I would get so slammed on here if I ever said anything negative about DeSantis from some conservative women in Florida. I mean, and I'm always like, are you truly conservative? But there's some people that actually aren't really in the party. They're not in the Florida GOP. And it's just like, from a perspective of living in Florida. So what you said aside, I just felt like he was strange about the shot. I realized people weren't seeing that, and there's like the free state of Florida, the free state of Florida. I'm like, not really, not so
Yeah.
fast. Like months, we had this big Epson, this company that he just went along with. He really mishandled them. There was a big environmental breach, like all this stuff was spilling into the Tampa Bay, and he was like not he's really not paid attention to some serious issues in the state, like section 8 housing. He's really a player. I realized he's running for the big show, and then there here he is running for it. Well, not
Right, yeah. So I was like appalled that I was actually right about it was all a gut feeling from the beginning about DeSantis, like he was just a snake. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think he spoke very highly of Fauci, and they're actually co-owners of some of like the farmland that Bill Gates bought. Am I mistaken?
Oh, I don't know about
I know
that.
I am pretty sure that that's real.
But I mean, DeSantis has made some good moves, but yeah, I mean, so for between the two of us, I voted for him twice, so it's just that I can nitpick about being Floridian, but I heard he had $100 million war chest even going into this, and I was like, what is he doing with $100 million? It never made. I was like, what? And I heard it multiple times from inside the Republican Party. I'm like, what is he doing with all that?
Yeah.
So KB, who would you want to see on the VP ticket then?
Oh, it's such an interesting question.
Really?
Yeah, from a political perspective, as a game, as a wedge, I would say that you Tulsi Gabbard or pull in the well, she's not going to do it, but the lieutenant governor.
Well, he said it wasn't a woman on one of the town halls. Trump said he already picked and it wasn't a woman.
Ugh,
He
well then
did
Ben
say
Carson.
that. But
I mean, I go for
KB, do you want a woman just because is a woman or?
yeah. You have to go through for a wedge. Like you have to divert the ability for people to just do big lies to write somebody off, and so it doesn't have to be a woman, but like it has to be someone you can like you have to say you can't say that because right or you're a racist because like you have to play.
So you're saying play the Democratic game and put the Republican version of Kamala?
No, no.
Not that far.
The people I named are
I like how Mima is
strong.
laughing, by the way.
No,
Welcome Mima to the panel.
God, no. Someone who's strong, independent, capable of the job, and who could actually. I mean, Vivek would be a good one, right? I mean,
I was going to ask you about that. It's interesting you didn't mention Vivek or DeSantis because I think they're the top, right now. That's what I believe.
no.
I would never support DeSantis.
I
wouldn't.
honestly think Vivek.
That's Mima. Welcome, Mima. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. So who would you like to see on the ticket?
I sometimes question Vivek. There's things about him that are kind of iffy, questionable, but just because he's younger, he's so articulate, he's so intelligent. Um, those things I really like about him, but then there's other times I just question things about him. But if I didn't have those second guesses,
Your
he was
questions such as
great.
like what, like maybe it's too good to be true kind of thing, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way a little bit sometimes, but he does go, he does go forward on a lot of these interviews.
And
Yeah,
he's
I have to
very
say
loyal.
Towards the mainstream media.
yes, he did walk the walk. He
Yeah,
did say he
that's
would,
what I feel like. Oh, maybe it's just me.
right.
And I think
He's
maybe
very
we feel that way
loyal.
because Trump has been betrayed so many times already.
It could be that
You know?
we're also leery, and I
Yeah.
can imagine he probably is too.
I gotta
Tim
be
Scott is
honest.
saying you're not marrying him, Mima.
I gotta be honest.
I know.
I don't think Trump gets betrayed. I think he plays masterful.
What was that, KB? You feel that he hasn't been betrayed?
Yeah, I gotta like I look at things differently. I mean I'm not it's taken me a long time. I'm not really good with politics or like realizing someone's gaming me. It took me like until I was like 35 and had been on 2 campaigns. So Trump read The Art of War. If you read The Art of War, Trump is really good at it. So to underestimate him, considering who he's been all his life and how he had to, I mean, New York City and you're a developer, you're dealing with um, crazy characters, right? I mean, people who will not be on your side. He knows how to keep his enemies close. I think what he was doing, and I might be wrong, but I'm like, I realize that I don't understand how to unravel things the way he would and the way Giuliani, I watched him do it, is that we have to see it. If we didn't see the corruption, like, and you just suddenly try to clean something up, people would be very against it. So even the point you made earlier, where you felt like Biden was maybe a good idea, you know what I mean, is so we saw more of it. I can understand that, and he's that kind of man. Trump is that kind of
Well,
man
I don't
that
think it was a good idea, but I think it's what we needed so that people
well,
could
not a good
wake up.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like
Oh,
it's
please,
just
I don't want that to be on recording.
like I seriously think Trump
Yeah.
plays a bigger game, and
Yeah.
sometimes maybe he loses, but I don't think that I think he's deliberate. I don't think that those were mistakes. Although I think Fauci was a mistake. I still maybe don't understand that situation.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. I do want to just highlight a couple of comments here. So, uh, what's his username, by the way? Um, Monkey is bananas. He's saying, well, let's comment now. Sorry,
That
a lot
Vivek
of
is like
comments to scroll here.
Biden.
Vivek is Biden 2.0. Monkey's banana said. King Tut's is saying Tim Scott for VP, and Tommy saying Tucker Carlson for VP,
No way.
and let me see who else here. I think that's about it. What do you think, Shan? Who do you want?
So
I know I asked you before, but
no, I really like the idea of Michael Flynn because he's not on the political scene. He's very loyal to
oh
Trump.
yes, Flynn. Yeah, somebody
I
mentioned that too, I think.
I really, really like, and I tell my husband all of the time, I think I trust Michael Flynn more than I trust Donald Trump. Like he's a very good man. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the ticket. I really wouldn't.
Are you saying that because of the loyalty aspect of it? By the way, that was Podtag too. Username Podtag said Michael Flynn as well.
I think I just his actions and what he's done. But also I really do like Vivek, and I know that a lot of people go back and forth on him, and he's younger, so we don't have to make our mind up about Vivek, whether or not he's going to be on the ticket. I don't know. It would be a ticket that I would 100% support, but and I know that there's that little video clip of him interviewing or talking to a lady in Iowa and saying, "Do the right thing and vote for me. A vote for me is to save Trump." And he could be right. I mean, basically, what he was portraying was that you were saving him from his demise. Like he's not going to be able to get anything done. They will stop at nothing, and really they won't. Like they would assassinate him if they could. So I mean, him and his family are in constant danger. He is going through this witch hunt that he's went through for forever, and that comment really didn't turn me off to Vivek. It really didn't take Vivek off the table for me because in a way he is right, and I think that Vivek has been very loyal to Trump and his ideas and the things that he says. I really do enjoy hearing, and I think I agree. I can't remember who said it, but I agree that he will bring a lot of the young voters into the conservative Republican Party, just because he's so young and he's quick on his feet and he talks a good talk. But like I said, we don't have to make our mind up about Vivek right away. He's somebody that we can for sure keep our eyes on.
Right, right. And I
So,
also
but do
thought
you
the same
think
thing.
then? I mean, I hear what you're saying about Michael Flynn, but when it comes to, do you think popularity matters as well?
I think for VP it doesn't. I mean, VP ultimately is Trump's choice, and um, I trust Trump to make the right decision. But let me just say, Trump drug DeSantis for the longest time about how he was this horrible elite and this horrible man, and because DeSantis crossed Trump, and just the other day, all of a sudden, Trump says that DeSantis is a great man, and all of a sudden, he's back on the table. Trump yesterday,
Yeah, but that's politics. That's just politics.
correct, but anybody
Yeah,
that crosses Trump drags through social media. So
right.
even Kayleigh McKinney, she she is not politics, and he drug her on social media last night because she made a comment that went against Trump. And so and I think everybody can agree, if you talk badly or cross Trump or make a comment about Trump that he doesn't agree with, he's just going to drag you. But if you make up for it and you say something different, he'll put you back on the table. And Vivek is the same. He drugged Vivek for a week, and then Vivek endorsed Trump, and all of a sudden Vivek is this great guy and somebody that we're going to be working with for a long, long time. So
But you don't think he'll make it to the VP though, right?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Really? So you putting him up there too?
I am. I am.
Oh
And
wow.
I know he said it wouldn't be Vivek, but Trump says a lot of things. He really does. And I
Right.
give you 3 examples of
Well,
things.
I don't think he said it wouldn't be Vivek. He said that already?
I'm pretty sure he did say that.
KB, do you think Governor DeSantis is a good governor?
I mean, he's like, yeah, I mean, no, he's good. He's not great.
Because you live in Florida, right? That's what you
Yeah, I
said?
live in Florida. Look,
Yeah.
I think
Because we hear wonderful things about him when it comes to Florida. That's why I'm asking you
I say
directly.
Florida, which is not true, which totally bugs me. The reason that bugs me is that elderly homes were shut down. He didn't get those open. He didn't set up a fast track for suing companies who violated people's HIPAA, right? I mean, protecting nurses and doctors and such. Like, there were so many things he could do, he didn't do it. Although I really like the Surgeon General guy here now. What's his name? Anyway, but he didn't do things that like to really change sort of the fabric of Florida. It's difficult to open businesses here. We have a ridiculous licensing. I mean, a
Hmm.
BMI. So he's not like. I feel like he had a good team, and they're not getting these things done. And he did a lot of flash stuff. I think he spends a little too much time with that kind of like gangster moment where you can put those little glasses on him. It comes down, and I don't. Yeah. So
So
we're.
you're not a big fan.
I voted for him twice. I wouldn't have voted for anybody else. So part of me, though, I realized his wife had breast cancer. Okay. And then he's being pulled to run for too soon. He was, I don't
Too
know.
soon. I agree with
Yeah.
that.
He should not, he was
Yeah.
ill advised. So do I
Yeah.
think if I think he's a player, then he went along with that. But I think ultimately, deep down, he tries to be a good guy. Like, I love how he did did you see when he did that committee of doctors and folks talking about the different options for during COVID?
I missed that. No,
Yeah,
I
he
didn't.
actually brought out scientific fact, and I really applauded him for that. So he's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give him a 7.
7.5. That's not bad. It's kind of average, but it's not so bad. Um, he's been tough on immigration, though, right? In Florida?
Oh yeah, the e-verify thing was awesome. My gosh, the thing he said, we'll take, he said things like, we'll open our ports if you're closing your ports, down for some reason, we'll open our ports. Biden did this really weird thing about shutting down ports. Was it because of the vaccine? I don't know. There was all this
Hmm.
combative stuff about, was it Georgia? And he's like, we'll take them. He's made some good moves.
So do you think that Trump and DeSantis on the VP ticket would be like a dream team?
Me? No,
Yeah.
no puffy white boy men.
No.
And
Because a lot of people were saying that before he ran
yeah,
for,
I'm sorry to put it that way, but he's a
DeSantis.
puffy white man, and we can't have that again. That was Pence. I put it that way because this is how it's played out, and he won't. The thing is, he'll be a waste there. And when you say Michael Flynn as VP, I feel like Michael Flynn is a powerhouse, and he could be. I could be wrong. See, to me, vice president is like this mushy spot. Okay, now Vivek could be used as a PR person and just
Hmm.
run it that way. But I think DeSantis would would not take it. I don't think it sets him up. I don't think Michael Flynn. That would be a misuse of Michael Flynn. I think he's like head of FBI, head of the State Department.
Keep him there, you're saying,
Michael Flynn.
in that area.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought with Michael Flynn, I thought with him, head of like the FBI or CIA. That's what I was thinking with him.
What I'm
So Mima, so
what I'm thinking
go
with
ahead.
it is that he can actually do things. Like, he can actually deliver and do things for Trump, and a lot of VPs don't. Like, what is Kamala Harris doing? What was Mike Pence doing? Like, he can actually, he has the experience. He can actually go and do things for Trump and step in for Trump and those types of things, because he's had all the experience. He has the military experience. He's a very smart man. He's very intelligent. He ran the defense. Like, I think he would do great. I really do. I think that he could be used for bigger things and the VP spot.
And that's what I just don't know about the legalities of the VP spot. That's all I'm asking. I don't know the honestly. I need to read.
I just think the past few presidents have had weak VPs.
I agree with you.
And
I agree with you. I think he would be
So
great.
you want Mima, you want someone tougher than Pence?
oh yeah,
More closer to Trump's energy?
Yes.
yeah, it'd be great because we could
Someone like in
accomplish,
your face kind of thing? We
yeah,
need that,
we
right?
could accomplish so much more. I think
Is that why you're going more for like Vivek?
yeah, because
Yeah.
Trump could send him to get so much more done when he send him overseas to do different things. We could count
Right.
on him to actually be a powerhouse.
And with him going back, and by the way, it's a shame that this is reality, but it is. With him, the left cannot play the race card.
Right, true.
Well, no, and same with Tim Scott.
I think Scott is another one, yeah.
Yeah, and so Tim Scott is like that softer side, and that's what Pence was. So Pence
Right.
was specifically to be sitting there for that. You know that this was actually talked about, to be sitting there for those debates, like, because they knew Pence would nail it sitting there next to Kamala. So Tim Scott's the same type. I've given to both of his Senate races.
Yeah.
I think he's just a little too weak to be a president.
Yeah. Username King Tut's is saying, my feelings for DeSantis has changed. I say no to DeSantis. I heard that a little bit. I was disappointed that he ran so quickly. He should have waited. I mean, it's clear to everyone that this is Trump's time still,
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, why are you doing that? Like, you should be supporting President Trump. Maybe lining up yourself for that VP ticket. And I just felt that was just silly. Again, I think KB said that he was probably ill-advised. And I agree with that. It was just a waste, in my opinion. But originally, I thought that would be a great team, Trump and DeSantis, but now not so much. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know still. I want to see more, but maybe Vivek would be a good
I
one.
also think he'd work well with him because they're both businessmen. They think
Yeah.
alike. They think alike.
Right, and it goes against that notion of not the typical politician once again, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Would Tulsi do it? I could see Tulsi there. I mean, I
She'd be great
I know
too.
that she voted with Bernie a ton of times, and she truly, I think she's more of a democratic socialist, but
she'd still be
would sound
great.
great. I think she'd pull in like a lot of independents and Democrats.
I don't think Trump
for
and
the people.
DeSantis can run on the same ticket with their address both being in Florida, right?
No, there's nothing that precludes
I
that.
thought there was.
Candace Owens as press secretary.
That would be great.
Somebody in the comment section said.
Oh my God, she'd slay that position.
That would be something.
Does it pay much?
I'm not sure.
She makes a lot, like doing what she's doing.
There'd probably be a pay cut.
What is that, Wire?
Daily Wire. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, I'm not sure, but that would be interesting. Anyway, guys, I do have to wrap this up. I want to thank everyone that joined. Tomorrow, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the Kayla Hamilton case. That was such a tragedy. What happened to that 20-year-old citizen, and it was just very, very tragic. She was unalived by a migrant that was detained at the southern border, and he is alleged that he has ties to the MS-13 gang. He went in where she was living, and he unalived her. He raped her as well. It was just terrible what happened to her. That was in Capitol Hill last week, and the media doesn't want to cover that story as usual. The mainstream media, most of them don't want to cover that story. And so she's suing the DHS right now for around $100 million for negligence of what they're doing at the southern border. And so that case is ongoing. I reached out to her, and she is coming tomorrow for this live here on my page. I'm going to interview her about the case, and she's going to share the experience. And so I welcome you guys to join tomorrow with Kayla Hamilton's mother, Tammy Nobles. She will be here tomorrow, 5:15 p.m. Pacific, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, and that being said, I want to thank Mima. I want to thank KB and Shan. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate you for doing this.
Thanks so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Can I just say one thing to Shanna?
Go ahead.
Yeah, God bless you 1,000 million times for going through that for us, honestly.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I would do it again all over.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very strong, and we appreciate you. Go ahead, Mima. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you again.
No, thank you. I do want to give a shout out to my subscribers: Chris, Naughty Red, Solace Ginger, Mima. Thank you again. Blessed Text, Freedom, Deb the Navy, and Cynthia. Guys, every gift you send, every subscription you make, it helps me to continue spending more time doing this research and these lives and this content. But if you can't, that's fine. At least follow and tap the lives, share the videos, like the lives, and go to my YouTube channel as well. You can subscribe there as well. It helps me spend more time doing this and doing covering all these stories that a lot of the mainstream media don't want to cover. That being said, thank you again. Have a good night. Thank you, Mima. Thank you, Tommy. And I will see you guys tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you all.
Good night.